Hello everyone, welcome to Tesla Daily News. Today is July 10th, Friday, and the following is the latest Tesla news. According to market data from the Nasdaq, Tesla stock finished the latest trading session at $407.76, up slightly from the previous close of $406.55. Intraday, shares opened around $410.49, traded between a low near $402.81 and a high around $413.16, on volume of roughly 33 million shares. In simple technical terms, price holding above support, bullish bias intact. From a short-term trader's perspective, that narrow gain and relatively tight trading range suggest the market is pausing after recent moves, waiting for clearer catalysts. The fact that buyers defended the low 400s again can be seen as constructive, but the inability to break meaningfully above the low 14s shows resistance is still active. For longer-term investors and Tesla enthusiasts, the key context is that this price action comes against a backdrop of both promising autonomy developments and some renewed controversy around safety, regulation, and even funds designed to avoid Elon Musk altogether. Those cross-currents are shaping sentiment and could influence how the stock behaves in coming weeks. According to TechCrunch, a new sign of that sentiment is the launch of two exchange-traded funds explicitly designed to exclude companies associated with Elon Musk. These are the Nasdaq 500 Ex-Elon Enterprises ETF and the S&P 500 Ex-Elon Enterprises ETF, created by Subversive Capital and legally registered under Title Trust. Their tickers are QQNE and SPNE. These ETFs aim to track broad large-cap U.S. equities while intentionally removing Tesla and SpaceX, and potentially any future public company that Musk founds, controls, or is primarily associated with. For stock investors, the financial mechanics are straightforward, but the signal is important. Most index investors own Tesla indirectly through products that track the S&P 500, the Nasdaq 500, and other benchmarks that now also include privately valued SpaceX in certain index families. These new Ex-Elon funds are targeting a niche, investors who want broad tech and growth exposure yet wish to avoid Musk's companies for ethical, political, or risk management reasons. The assets in these funds will likely be small at first, so direct flow impact on Tesla's daily trading may be minimal. However, their mere existence highlights how polarizing the Musk brand has become, which can amplify volatility. If they gain media attention and attract meaningful capital, Tesla could gradually lose a slice of passive demand in those specific vehicles, even as it remains a heavyweight in mainstream index products. According to Taiwanese outlet Liberty Times Auto, there is growing concern in Taiwan about high-voltage battery failures in certain Tesla Model Y vehicles equipped with BYD's blade-type lithium iron phosphate battery packs. Owners in Taiwan have reported on social platforms that some Model Y rear-wheel drive cars, delivered from roughly 2023 to 2024 and fitted with Chinese-made BYD LFP packs, are experiencing serious battery issues. The reported symptoms include the vehicle failing to start, powertrain malfunctions, and dashboard warnings such as the BMS 坏线生物 message, stating that the car may not be able to restart and requires service. After inspection, many of these vehicles have been diagnosed as needing high-voltage battery replacements. Owners also report that service centers are facing a noticeable backlog, with dozens of cars at some locations waiting for replacement packs, and that wait times for new batteries can stretch to weeks or longer. Loaner vehicles are said to be insufficient, creating frustration among customers who are left without transportation for extended periods. From an investor's point of view, the critical questions are whether these issues are confined to specific batches, to a narrow production window, or to a limited geographic market, and whether they stem from cell manufacturing, pack design, or software calibration. While Tesla Taiwan has so far declined to issue a public, detailed explanation or announce a recall or large-scale service campaign, the story is gaining traction. If it turns out to be a localized problem, the direct financial hit may be limited to warranty costs and some regional reputational damage. However, if investigations link the failures to broader design issues in BYD-equipped Model Y variants, Tesla could face higher global warranty provisions, potential regulatory scrutiny, and delays in rolling out similar pack configurations in other markets. It is also a reminder to investors that Tesla's strategy of sourcing cells from multiple suppliers, including Chinese partners, introduces both supply chain flexibility and quality control complexity that must be carefully managed. Liberty Times also references prior concerns raised in Europe by independent EV service organization EV Clinic, which had previously warned about reliability issues in certain China-built Tesla Model 3 and Model Y vehicles using LG Chem NCM811 nickel-rich battery cells. Those earlier concerns involved potential overheating, power output reduction, and range degradation, occasionally requiring replacement of entire modules rather than individual cells. While the European warnings did not specify exact years and batches, and did not trigger a formal recall, the combination of past NCM concerns and the current LFP BYD reports in Taiwan could encourage regulators and consumer groups to ask tougher questions about long-term battery durability in specific Tesla configurations. For Tesla shareholders, the larger takeaway is that the company's battery technology leadership is not just about energy density and cost per kilowatt-hour. It also hinges on fuel reliability, transparent communication when issues arise, and the ability to rapidly service and replace components across global markets. Any perception that the company is slow to address systemic issues, or reluctant to communicate clearly, can weigh on brand perception and, eventually, on demand, particularly in markets where rivals are catching up in EV offerings. According to Clean Technica, Tesla has quietly launched an unsupervised robotaxi service in Miami, Florida, operating within a geofenced zone of roughly 10 to 14 square miles. The head of Tesla's full self-driving program, Ashok Aluswamy, has confirmed that some of these cars are running with no one inside, effectively functioning as driverless robotaxis. While enthusiasts and local observers have tried to track the fleet by license plates, only a small number of vehicles have been spotted, and Tesla has not disclosed the size of the pilot fleet or provided detailed performance metrics. The Miami deployment marks Tesla's first unsupervised robotaxi presence in Florida, with observers already spotting at least one cybercab in nearby Tampa and speculating that Tampa and Orlando might follow as the next launch cities. The key nuance for investors is that, much like competitors such as Waymo and Zoox, Tesla appears to be rolling out its service in tightly controlled, geofenced areas, city by city. This contrasts with Tesla's long-standing narrative that its vision-based autonomy stack would generalize everywhere, for all roads, largely through software updates. From a market share perspective, Clean Technica notes that Tesla has not materially increased its share of the U.S. robotaxi market this year. Waymo continues to dominate, with Zoox in a solid second place after recent expansions. Tesla's presence is still small in absolute scale, and many critics argue that the unsupervised Miami deployment is more of a limited demonstration than a mass-market service. For shareholders and enthusiasts, this creates a tension between narrative and measurable progress. On one hand, the fact that fully driverless Teslas are now carrying out rides in a real city is a meaningful milestone that could, over time, justify some of the company's ambitious valuation tied to autonomy and software revenue. On the other hand, the small fleet size, geofencing, and lack of disclosed key performance indicators such as miles per intervention, disengagements, or safety incidents make it difficult for outside analysts to quantify how far Tesla truly is from scalable, profitable robotaxi operations. Investors should also consider the regulatory and competitive context. Waymo, Cruise before its setbacks, and Zoox have all had to work closely with local authorities, transportation agencies, and the public through pilot programs, reporting requirements, and incident investigations. If Tesla aims to expand its unsupervised operations, it will likely face similar obligations and scrutiny, especially as public incidents or viral videos surface. Ultimately, the financial impact of robotaxis hinges on Tesla proving not just technical capability, but also regulatory acceptance, public trust, and compelling unit economics. Miami is an early chapter in that story, not the conclusion. According to Wired, Tesla made a notable appearance at the United Nations AI for Good Summit in Geneva, where Cybertrucks were showcased on the convention floor alongside UN rescue helicopters and other cutting-edge hardware. While the article's primary focus is on global AI governance, access to compute, and the need for standards that incorporate human rights, Tesla's presence underscores how closely intertwined the company has become with broader debates about artificial intelligence and its social impact. The summit, organized by the UN's International Telecommunication Union, emphasized the challenge of ensuring that AI technologies serve the public good, rather than exacerbate inequality or concentrate power in a few corporate hands. Speakers warned that opaque partnerships and over-reliance on big tech platforms can entrench dependencies and widen the digital divide. They also highlighted how technical standards and procurement decisions effectively embed political and ethical choices deep in the stack of AI infrastructure. For Tesla, being part of this conversation matters in two ways. First, its Autopilot and full self-driving systems are among the most visible consumer-facing AI products on the planet, and any global movement toward stricter AI accountability, transparency, or safety standards could directly affect how Tesla develops, tests, and deploys new features. Second, as countries and multilateral organizations explore rules around data governance, AI safety, and infrastructure access, Tesla's future as an AI-heavy mobility and robotics company becomes more tightly coupled to regulatory frameworks that are still being written. Investors should recognize that the next phase of Tesla's growth in autonomy, humanoid robots, and AI-powered energy management will not take place in a regulatory vacuum. Participation in global forums like the UN Summit offers the company a chance to shape the narrative, demonstrate responsible innovation, and potentially influence how standards evolve. At the same time, it increases visibility and expectations. Missteps in safety, transparency, or human rights-sensitive deployments could attract not just national, but global critique. According to reports from Austrian outlet Tiroler Tageszeitung and Italian broadcaster Com24, a disturbing viral video from Canada has reignited concerns about misuse of Tesla's autopilot and driver assistance capabilities. The footage, captured in British Columbia, shows a woman apparently sleeping at the wheel of a Tesla traveling at highway speeds of around 100 kilometers per hour, with 2 young children in the vehicle also asleep. The witness who recorded the scene contacted local police, and authorities have reportedly opened an investigation into possible illegal use of automated driving features. In British Columbia, the legal framework is particularly strict. Since 2024, under the Motor Vehicle Act, traveling in fully automated vehicles is prohibited, and driver assistance systems are not officially accepted as hands-off autonomous driving. Even when semi-autonomous features are engaged, the driver is required to remain attentive and ready to take control at any time, which Tesla's system also instructs users to do. The reports note that it remains unclear why, in this case, the car's driver monitoring warnings did not clearly intervene, or why the system did not bring the vehicle to a controlled stop if the driver remained unresponsive for an extended period. For Tesla shareholders and enthusiasts, this incident is less about one specific driver and more about the broader narrative around safety and public perception. Videos of drivers sleeping or engaging in reckless behavior while using autopilot have surfaced repeatedly over the years. Tesla's manuals and on-screen warnings consistently state that the system is a driver assistance feature and that the human driver must remain in control. However, regulators, courts, and the public often focus on what people actually do with the technology, not just what the fine print says. If investigations determine that the driver deliberately misused the system, legal consequences will likely center on that individual. Yet, every high-profile incident adds to pressure on regulators to tighten rules for advanced driver assistance systems, potentially requiring more robust driver monitoring, camera-based attention tracking, or stricter limitations on where and how such features can be used. For Tesla, this could mean additional software development efforts, region-specific restrictions, and ongoing regulatory risk, all factors that investors must weigh when valuing the company's autonomy roadmap. These news items together paint a complex but important picture. Tesla stock is steady but surrounded by emerging financial products explicitly designed to avoid Elon Musk, technical and service challenges in specific battery configurations, cautious but real steps into unsupervised robotaxis, growing involvement in global AI policy conversations, and persistent public scrutiny over driver behavior and safety. All of these threads matter for the company's long-term trajectory, both in the markets and on the roads. Thanks for listening to Tesla Daily News. If you found this episode useful, please subscribe and share it with other Tesla investors and fans. See you next time.